What up, Space Fam? Goes in here from Anime Up. We're back at it again with the latest full translated One Piece manga chapter, and it is amazing. I just did a poll yesterday on the Anime Uproar Instagram about who would win in a fight, Shanks versus Sakazuki, and last time I checked, 90% of people voted for Shanks. And the hype for Shanks is only gonna grow after this insane chapter, so make sure to stay tuned for this one. Share the Pirate King with it, and smash that like button if you enjoy these One Piece reviews. Be a smashing Pirate King and not a passing Orochi, and YouTube will reward you with Wano fireworks. True story, enjoy the fireworks because the passing Orochis will never experience that thrill. And if you haven't, make this the video you join the Nakama by subscribing and hitting that notification bell to turn on all notifications, or you will miss future One Piece reviews and updates. Now I want to thank today's awesome sponsor, HelloFresh. You can now go to HelloFresh.com and use code AnimeUproar16 for 16 free meals across 7 boxes and 3 free gifts. The beauty of HelloFresh is that it delivers fresh quality produce from the farm to your door in less than a week, so you don't have to waste your time at grocery stores, which is a huge plus for me. Their recipes are delicious, and HelloFresh allows you to save not only time but money as well, and I love saving money. In fact, HelloFresh is up to 72% cheaper than dining at a restaurant, and as an added bonus, HelloFresh's streamlined supply chain reduces greenhouse gas emissions compared to grocery shopping. Plus, in partnership with Plastic Bank, HelloFresh prevents 10 million bottles from entering the ocean every year. So you have every reason to feel good about eating with HelloFresh. My friend and I made chicken ranch wraps with cheddar and golden potato coins the other day, and they were delicious. What I found out I really liked about HelloFresh was the sense of accomplishment you get when you prepare a wholesome, delicious meal for yourself. I am like the furthest thing from a cook, and yet we had a blast making and eating these wraps. HelloFresh's foolproof step-by-step recipes ready in around 30 minutes or less made that possible for me, and if I can do it, anyone can do it. So what are you waiting for? Go to HelloFresh.com and use code AnimeUproar16 for 16 free meals across 7 boxes and 3 free gifts. And now, without further ado, let's jump into it, spoilers and all. This chapter is called New Age, and it starts with the Wano party still in full swing. We see Nami and Zeus having a great time with Tama. Obviously, Green Bull hasn't rained on their parade yet, but let's see if Momo can keep it that way. As you'll remember, Momo, Yamato, and the Scabbards confronted Green Bull last chapter. Their plan was to make sure the people of Wano can enjoy their liberty by stopping the Admiral in his tracks. And even though Forest Logia Green Bull had the upper hand, Dragon Momo was telling Yamato not to interfere. We catch up to them here, and as Green Bull and his broccoli head smash Momo into the ground, Raizo launches Fire Release at Green Bull. If you know your Pokemon, you know that Fire type is super effective against plant/grass type, and for you non-Pokemon fans, I guess it should also make sense that Fire is not good for a forest. Green Bull acts like he's in pain, which seems to be his thing. He's not very stoic, and he often expresses pain, even when, like this time, he's just kidding. He says he's a fireproof forest. He mentions they're going up against an Admiral and they really think he wouldn't be able to guard against such an obvious weakness. This obviously does make sense since Kaido pointed out fruits are not a big deal and many of the best don't even have fruits, so there's no way a skilled Admiral would lose just because his fruit may be weak against an attack type according to Pokemon rules. He launches one of his roots at Raizo and starts sapping his nutrients as he did with King and Queen. Meanwhile, the other Scabbards are having trouble too. Kawamatsu notes how the roots keep coming no matter how much they cut them. In a way, Green Bull seems to be like Marco. He can regenerate as long as his stamina lasts, and from what we've seen, he's nowhere close to running out of stamina. Eventually, Denjiro, Kawamatsu, and Nekomamushi are shown getting trapped by the vines. Man, the Red Scabbards do not have the best record for doing well in fights recently, albeit they've been up against powerful opponents, but still, this isn't making them look any better. We'll get a conclusion to this fight soon, but first we go to the castle basement, aka Sukiyaki's secret room. Robin, Sukiyaki, and Law are making their way down some stairs. After being told he sniffed them out well, Law says he's not a hyena, he just noticed that the two were missing, so he came wondering what they were up to. And I gotta say, Law, given his interest in history and the truth of the world, is the perfect person to tag along here. Sukiyaki says he never told Kaido about this, but they found the poneglyph because of All-Star Jack since he's a fishman. At first, Robin is like, why would being a fisherman help? But Sukiyaki just says they'll see soon. When Law asks how much deeper down are they going to go, Sukiyaki says a few hundred years deeper, so the mystery keeps building here. Through a crawl space, they finally see what's going on. They are below sea level, and like the city of Atlantis, they see what looks like under the sea Wano. Sukiyaki points out it's an older Wano from 800 years ago. Again, we get that magic 800 number. Sukiyaki says he doesn't know what ended up happening, but also goes on to say that Wano used to be larger and located at sea level on the land around the base of Mount Fuji. And since we have a Mount Fuji, all of this is kind of giving me a Planet of the Apes vibes, but we'll see what happens. I'm sure the One Piece probably won't be the Statue of Liberty. But anyways, at some point the walls were erected all around enclosing the island. As a result, the rainwater had nowhere to escape to, and whole towns were eventually submerged and abandoned. People moved further up the mountain, and New Wano, the one we know, came to be. Finally, they arrived to the road poneglyph. Robin points out that this is their third and they just need one more to travel to Laugh-Tale. Then Sukiyaki gives us the vague location of Pluton. He says it's lower down, but he's never seen it himself. Apparently, retrieving Pluton would require the removal of the walls that surround Wano. Thus, opening the country also is a literal act. They would lose their greatest defense and set loose one of the ancient weapons. But you know what they say, sometimes the best defense is a good offense, and I feel like if Wano had Pluton, it would more than make up for the lack of walls, but again, we don't have all the pieces here, so it's hard to say. We do know that Crocodile was so confident in the might of Pluton that he felt like it would let him build a nation more powerful than the world government, and that they couldn't do anything about it because he'd have Pluton. So if the legends are true, it would be a game changer for anyone who could acquire and use it. When Robin asks, if opening the country unleashes Pluton, why would Odin want that? Sukiyaki explains he doesn't know. He only knows what's been passed down, not about what Odin experienced during his voyages outside. However, I do think part of it is that all of the ancient weapons will have to be present for Luffy, the new era Joy Boy, to achieve his destiny, which is likely liberating the world from a corrupt world government and preventing an even worse power like Blackbeard from taking over. Now let's get back to the Admiral Green Bull fight, and let's just say it, Green Bull hasn't been too impressive since crushing King and Queen effortlessly, but again, they were in recovery from their defeats at the hands of the Straw Hats. Now he's having trouble getting past Yamato, Momo, and the Scabbards. Like whatever you say, it's clearly taking him time and he's evidently ticked off. And when someone can easily overpower people, he usually doesn't get ticked off, he just does it. Don't get me wrong, I'm sure he's strong, but he's just not giving off the vibes we might have expected a few chapters ago. He continues to talk about how he's nature and no man can hope to stand against nature. He says if Kaido was in charge, he wouldn't have come back. Although he's sure his regime was miserable, he also knows he imposed order that served to deter other predators from targeting the country. We're getting more of his philosophical views here, and he has a point. Beating a strong ruler does leave the country vulnerable to external attack, especially since Luffy, the man who beat him, is gonna leave. Then he drops the philosophy and is just like, okay, bring me Luffy and I'll leave. He's shown holding and clearly overpowering the Scabbards with his roots. Like I said, they really did not accomplish anything during this fight. Yamato is again like, let's call Luffy and the gang to show Aramaki what's up, but Momo says no, and finally explains why he's been telling Yamato not to interfere, and it's the same reason that I suggested in the prior chapter review. Since Yamato has a chance to be free and leave Wano, Momo's all for it. However, it will mean that Yamato will no longer stay behind to defend Wano, and so the ones who will stand behind have to take over. They have to prove that they can repel the enemy on their own. Otherwise, and this is a great point, how can they look at those who leave and say that Wano is safe with them who stay? Again, there's that focus on Yamato and Momo, and again, I'm here hoping Yamato doesn't have a change of heart about joining the Straw Hats in order to stay and guard Wano. I'm especially worried about this because of the whole having a guardian deity of Wano fruit, so I can't really accept Yamato as a Straw Hat until Yamato leaves the island with them. And I'm really hoping for that. Yamato is touched by Momo, and then we turn back to Momo versus Demon Tree, as he calls Aramaki. Aramaki insults him, remarking that even dragons can be pathetic, but then Momo tells him to leave again, and this time Aramaki shows genuine panic. Momo actually pulls off a bolo breath that really seems to hurt Aramaki. At least the attack creates a huge hole in his tree body. This attack also affects Aramaki enough that he releases the scabbards. Denjiro even compliments Momo, saying his attack was the spitting image of Kaido's. Aramaki is mad now, but Momo launches another bolo breath. Aramaki tells him to hang on, but then he's blown away. Yamato is amazed too, but does point out that Momo's aim leaves much to be desired. Aramaki looks to be in excruciating pain as the flames engulf him. Eventually, it seems like Momo burned everything, so Green Bull has to sprout again from a single small clover-looking thing. Now, I think Aramaki is fine for now, but again, I feel like he couldn't do this forever. There must be a point where he can no longer regenerate into a new body, but he definitely have to hit that limit with a stronger opponent. Just as Aramaki is supposedly gonna show how strong he is and defeat Momo and the others, black lightning is seen from a distance. And now, that black lightning brings us to the most hype part of this chapter. Green Bull looks to be paralyzed and in pain again. He says, wait, that conquers Haki. Who the red hair pirates? You're here too? End quote. We see what looks like sweat coming from him and his hands shoot up as if in surrender. We then catch up to see what's happening on the red hair pirate's ship. They tell Shanks not to go all out with this Haki like that since the newbies are all foaming from the mouth. Then Shanks goes on to talk, as if he's talking right to Green Bull. And whether Green Bull is getting the words or the emotions that Shanks is sending, it's clear that Shanks' thoughts are getting to and being understood by Green Bull despite their distance. Shanks says, I won't call you Marines cowardly or underhanded for this, but wouldn't you agree it's bad form to go after these worn out saplings when they're exhausted from making pirate history? End quote. And I totally agree with Shanks here. That's totally bad form. But then again, the world government has never been one for good form. So we then see some of Shanks' memories, like Luffy's cut, a time Momo injured his head, and so on. We see Hiyori and what some have called a silhouette of Shanks' daughter from the new movie. There was a whole movie bonus page about her creating a song for the new era as well, so it makes sense that she'd be tied to it, especially in Shanks' mind. We then see Shanks really angry, which is hype because we don't see that side of Shanks often. I can't even remember if we ever saw him this angry. He says, does the new age frighten you that much? And finally, Green Bull's like, I get it already. It's not like I want to pick a fight with you guys. Not today anyways. And so the Green Bull being underwhelming compared to his initial debut continues. He served to hype up Shanks further, a character we all love and furthermore love to see hyped up. Shanks is really something, being able to have this kind of effect on an Admiral from a distance by just letting out some Haki. This dude's sway over others, especially over enemies, must be the greatest we've seen so far. Dude stopped Kaido, the Paramount War, and now Green Bull without even getting close. I love to see it and I can't wait to see this guy actually participate in a real fight. Hilariously enough, from the perspective of Yamato and Momo, it probably seems like Green Bull was talking about them, like Momo's attacks got Aramaki to say he doesn't want to pick a fight, so they're celebrating and Momo even starts crying. And so wraps up the not so crazy Green Bull approaching the Wano Party saga. It wasn't a battle to the death, all it took was Shanks just being like, leave bro, and Aramaki being like, oh okay, sorry. We then return to the party and we see that Luffy, Zoro, Sanji, and Jinbei were watching the fight. Aramaki is gone and Zoro even says check Momo out. They are clearly proud of him and his solid attacks. They were on standby ready to help if things got ugly. Jinbei is the one to first comment on the Haki and says how it was something else. Luffy says, yeah, who was that? A familiar face just popped into my head, he says while smiling. So although Luffy sensed Shanks and he probably saw Shanks' face pop into his mind, he still isn't sure what happened. But at least Shanks did serve a purpose and it wasn't just a pointless tease. He did stop Aramaki from perhaps seriously injuring some Straw Hats, so hey, I guess we can't complain and say that he had no purpose being so close to Luffy if he wasn't gonna make contact. But I will say, clearly Luffy is a great pirate by now, so a meetup would have definitely been justified. Lastly, we see the red hair ship drifting in the vast ocean, and that wraps it up. Let me know your thoughts on the full chapter. When are Luffy and Shanks finally gonna meet? If not now, and will Blackbeard meet with Shanks sooner, as I expect he will? Either way, it's exciting stuff, and as the title suggests, this wraps up Wano for me with Green Bull leaving, and now we move on to a new age of One Piece, one where we'll hopefully get to see more of Shanks. Now, channel the Pirate King within and smash that like button if you enjoy these One Piece reviews. Be a smashing Pirate King and never a passing Orochi, and YouTube will reward you with Wano fireworks. True story, click that like button and experience the thrill that passing Orochis never will. And if you haven't made this the video, you join the Nakama by subscribing and hitting that notification bell to turn on all notifications so you don't miss future One Piece reviews and updates. And if you're a real one and made it all the way to the end of this video, drop a hashtag #AngryShanks in the comments to let me know. Thank you so much, I really appreciate it. Lastly, while you wait for future videos and updates to drop, feel free to check out my huge and growing One Piece playlist that includes videos on all the Yonko, Warlords, Admirals, and much more. Link to that is in the description and on screen right now. And until next time, see ya, Space Cowboys.